You have a feeling for the level of outrage? Yeah, it is.
I can see one number 2 and 4. And also although Burke Street.
It's already on that. Oh, you put that out there before. And then, no, it's already said. You click for live. We're live at the moment. There.
We're live. Oh. For how long?
We're live at the moment.
Answer to that.
There.
We're live. Yeah, we've got some reverb. Yeah, about 3 minutes.
Where are the participants?
Yeah, we have. We've got a delay in that. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Waverley Local Planning Panel for the meeting 26 November 2026. Waverley Council acknowledges the traditional owners who occupy the Sydney coast, which Aboriginal elders both past and present. For the 26 November 2026, we have no apologies. Acknowledges the traditional owners who occupy the Sydney coast, which we're going to feedback. So a little bit of feedback you've got. We have apologies. Just bear with us. That's easier. Yeah, fixed now. Thank you. Can we just ask you to stay for maybe 5 minutes just to make sure? Oh, okay, thank you, thank you. The agenda today, there's 9 matters. The panel, there's 3 of us in the room here today. We've got John Rockoff and Claire Edwards, the community member, and online is Elizabeth Kincaid. And my name's Jacqueline Townsend, and I'm the chair today of the panel. 3 of us in the room here today. Still Claire, community member, and online is Elizabeth Kincaid. And my name is Jacqueline Townsend, and I'm the chair today of the panel. Thank you. Just a little switch of a flick. Flick of a switch and it's dealt with. Thank you. Sorry about that. And the declaration of interest, there's no declarations of interest this morning on any item, so the panel will be in attendance on each item. We are going to hear from all speakers today. We have a number of speakers, so I'm going to ask that each person who speaks, that they speak with respect, acknowledge the other speaker insofar as not speaking over the top of them, and that once you finish your submission, which you'll have 3 minutes, and we're going to ask that you keep the 3 minutes today because we do have a number of speakers. The panel may have a question for you, so I'll just ask that you remain online until the panel member decides on whether they're going to ask a question or not. Then I'm going to ask you to then mute yourself. Then after the conclusion of all speakers on each item, we will then move on to the next item on the agenda. At the conclusion of the hearing of the 9 items today, the panel will then close the meeting. I'll close the meeting as the chair, and the panel will then move into a room to deliberate on each item. The decision on each item will then be put up onto the council website, hopefully by the end of this week. So you'll be able to look and see the decisions made by the panel. There is a recording today, and the fact that you've registered to speak, you'll acknowledge that you've approved for your name to be released on this video of the panel hearing today. So I just reiterate, you've got 3 minutes. You'll hear a bell. If you haven't finished by the bell, if you could wrap up, finish that point. If you have got a submission made that reflects something of a submission made earlier, if you could just acknowledge the same point and then move on to your next point. So we're not hearing the same submission more than once, and that you're not wasting 3 minutes of time. Okay, so with that in all the formalities over, and if everyone can turn their phones off, so we're not going to be interrupted with phone calls and tones and everything else. So I'll now move on to the first item, which is DA 192 2025, 723 to 725 Old Southhead Road, Vaucluse. There were a number of submissions received during the exhibition period, and we've got we've got one speaker, Mark Burgo, who's going to speak against the recommendation. Are you there, Mark?
I'm here, yes.
I think I saw you before. Yeah. Two.
Can you hear me?
We've got one speaker, Mark Burgo.
Yeah, I can hear feedback again.
Yeah, you can feel the feedback. Okay. Sorry, just bear with us a minute. It's okay. Let's try now, Mark.
Okay.
Great.
That's setting okay? Yep.
Yep, that's terrific. You can hear us all right?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, terrific. Thank you. When you're ready.
Okay, thank you. So good morning all, thank you. So my name is Mark Berger. I'm the owner of 4 Diamond Bay Road. My home is a semi-detached dwelling connected to number 2, which is the direct neighbour to the development. I wanted to start first by thanking the council officers for reviewing my initial objection and for the amendments made so far, including the raised window sills and reduction of upper balcony. I've submitted a further written response and I wanted to address 3 critical issues today. So the rear setback, privacy permanence and traffic safety. In terms of the setback, the report treats the eastern boundary, which faces our backyard, as a side boundary, permitting a setback of 1.5 metres. I understand this is technically a corner lot, but functionally the rear backyard is facing the rear backyard for both number 2 and my family. And so that is our concern, is our main private open space, that placing a 4-storey building just 1.5 metres from fence line removes an important buffer that protects the amenity of our backyards. It also seems inequitable because the report notes that the northern setback next to the existing unit block, much of that area being driveway and front path, was increased to 2 metres, yet the eastern boundary next to our family backyard stays at 1.5. I'm asking the panel to please use your discretion to increase the eastern setback, ideally to 3 metres or something according, so that it matches a more fair use of the land in comparison to the northern neighbour. The second point is permanence of the privacy measures. So I appreciate the point around the planter boxes to stop people being able to overlook balconies. However, these could be removed in the future. So I'm asking to require a positive covenant on the title for maintaining those planters for the protection of privacy. And the third point is addressing traffic safety. The intersection is noted as a black spot. I'd like to just raise a concern around safety during the build. There was a large build around the other side of our property to 6 to 8 Diamond Bay Road in the past couple of years. We had several issues with trucks queuing across our driveway, often left unattended. So we were blocked many times from being able to access or leave our home. Also having young children is a safety concern and obviously an inconvenience. I'm asking to amend condition 23 to strictly ban construction vehicles from waiting, idling or parking within 20 metres of the Diamond Bay Road and Old South Road intersections, and also in particular across our driveway. So thank you. I respectfully ask for consideration of these 3 changes: the increase of the eastern setback, positive covenants on privacy measures, and the ban on construction trucks from queuing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mark, panel, do we have any questions for Mark? Elizabeth? No? Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for coming in and making that submission. Michelle,
Thank
is
you.
Michelle registered to speak? No, but you're here, Michelle, is that right? Yep. No. Okay. We'll now move on to the applicant representatives. We've got Lee Kuzneta from LK Planning, along with Alex Smith and Anna Yargo from CSA Architects. Can I hear from one of you? I suppose, Lee, will you be addressing the panel?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. It'll just be me and Alex and Anna are here, just in case you need some architectural questions I can't answer. I wasn't going to make a presentation today, only that we endorse the officer's report. We thank them very much for working with us and allowing us to incorporate the design amendments that were recommended by the Design Excellence Panel, which we think has improved the project, and for their endorsement and their conditions in the report. We agree with all of the conditions as currently stated and don't seek to amend any of them, and ask that you endorse the recommendation for approval. I just, in responding to the neighbours, well, not the second removed neighbours' concerns, with respect to the 1.5 metre setback, this has been treated as a side setback because of the site orientation. We think that's appropriate, as does the council report. We've been very careful to address privacy impacts by having the lower levels of our building with bedrooms and quiet spaces, and highlight windows in those rooms to have permanent built privacy mitigation. And then at the uppermost level, it's set back sort of 5 and 6 metres from the edge of the building below. And the planter box arrangement is permanent. So we don't rely on the plants themselves within the planter box for the privacy. The planter arrangement at the top level is effective because there will be, in effect, a 1 metre balustrade for the planter in from the edge of the building, which permanently restricts the ability to see down into the neighbouring properties. So that's quite a permanent outcome. We wouldn't endorse the submitter's recommendation for an easement. I don't think that's going to work, and we would want planting at that level and don't rely on it for privacy. With respect to traffic, we have a condition at the moment, 23, and others that talk about the submission of a construction vehicle management plan being submitted to council. We're very open to working with council on ensuring that that construction vehicle management plan does what it needs to their satisfaction. If that's no waiting for 20 metres in the street or 40 or 60, whatever it might be, then we're willing to work with council to make sure that this is a safe work site. That is all I wanted to address. Thank you. If you have any questions, architect and I are here.
Thank you very much. Panel, are there any questions of the planner and or architect? John?
I know the applicants answered the question I had about traffic management.
Thank you. Elizabeth, anything? No? Great. Thank you. Thank you for making yourself available, and to your architects as well.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to item number 2, which is DA 490/2025, 95 Hardy Street, Dover Heights. There were no submissions received during the exhibition period. The applicant is registered to speak, Matthew Quattreville, from Four Towns Planning. Matthew, you here?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Would you like to make a submission, or are you here to take questions?
Madam Chair, panel, yeah, just here to answer any questions that the panel may have, and confirmation that we endorse the assessment officer's report. Thank you.
Thank you. Panel, any questions?
No questions.
No? Great. Thank you for making yourself available.
That's all right. Thank you. Have a great day.
You. Cheers. We'll now move on to item number 3, which is DA 409/2025, which is 118 McPherson Street, Bronte. There were many submissions received through the exhibition period, and the panel have received those submissions. And we've got registered speakers. We've got Emma Bouchy and Dennis Honig. Is Emma online?
Yes, I'm online. Can you hear me
Right.
okay?
Yeah, we can. So you've
Yep.
got 3 minutes.
Great.
When you're ready, if you could start.
Sure. Okay, so thank you very much to the planning panel for the opportunity to speak about this DA. I do object to it on the grounds of lack of sufficient assessments for this new DA, and the significant impact to our right for peaceful enjoyment, with particular noise from the proposed use as a restaurant, and traffic impacts in a manner that will be relentless to us. Just so you know, I live next door at unit 120 to 128 McPherson Street, on the north side of the 118 McPherson Street. My bedroom looks over Virgil Lane and is directly adjacent to the waste area and the bathrooms that have just been approved, as well as will be impacted by any kind of traffic, including trucks or deliveries right out front. My son's bedroom also overlooks that area. I'd just like to that his bedroom window, and for Unit 8 above me, is never included in any photographs, so we're directly impacted there. I am also a member of the Strata Committee, so I do represent my building, which has 7 residences. I'd like to call out first that as DA 409/2025 is a new development application for this site and proposes a complete change in use from commercial to licensed restaurant, which has significant impacts on all 3 sites for residential properties, that there has been no assessments undertaken in respect to waste management, truck delivery, the noise assessment, in respect to those approved outdoor bathrooms, which I'd also like to note the sequencing of the development application. So there was a development application put forward, DA 40/2021B, which was put out at the same ahead of this current development application. Then this one was released and the other one was approved, which means that bathrooms were approved by council and are not considered in the current assessment reports for this current DA application. Those bathrooms, if you think about it, they're right at our bedrooms and all the other landing residences, their bedroom space onto that. And there'll be 60 plus 10 staff, 60 patrons plus 10 staff, opening and closing hinge doors to access those bathrooms outside. It's a licensed restaurant that's proposed. It's going to be extremely noisy. There's been I sent in videos. I hope the panel was able to see them. This lane is extremely narrow. I hope you visited it with a garbage truck. Even council garbage trucks are having a lot of trouble going down it and have to reverse backwards or do multiple point turns to exit this laneway. Can you imagine all the noise of that and the safety of it? You cannot walk past it. Plus, we have to be able to access our garageway from coming via 118 McPherson Street. We can't get out of our apartment block. And if it is blocked with multiple bins and trucks and deliveries and garbage collections, then that really impacts us and has, of course, through the development itself. Yeah, I do think that a traffic report needs to be undertaken for this change in use. It hasn't happened. If council wants to rely on previous traffic reports for the other day, which is a separate DA, so I think they should be considered differently. Those traffic reports only relate to the cars entering a proposed driveway at the time. They're nothing about traffic flows in the area. That's a real problem for the volume and the narrowness and the safety of the area, as well as the noise. And the acoustic report that was issued for this development application does not incorporate the bathrooms because of how they've sequenced those two proposals. So those both bathrooms are not incorporated in the current acoustic report, which actually inaccurately states, it says the statements noise transferred to 120 to 128 McPherson Street will be through the abutting external walls of the building. That is incorrect because those bathrooms are going to cause a major issue. And I really think that the planning panel needs to seriously consider whether they can approve this, given that the toilets are outside, or they need to somehow be reincorporated. And as I've put in other submissions, that those truck deliveries have to be on 118 McPherson Street. There is no comparable that it would occur in Virgil Lane. It's just impractical as well as unsafe. So thank you for seriously considering this.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I was
Thank
just
you.
cut you off as you're saying thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Panel, were any questions of Emma? No, John?
No, thanks. I'll just looking at those locations on the plans. I'll get back to you.
Great, thank you. And nothing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll now move on to Dennis Honig. Dennis, are you here online? Okay. So the applicant, Ben Filler, Alex Cameron and Sophie Perry, are you all wanting to speak, or are one of you just going to make a submission? And be good if one of you could respond also to some of those issues raised by Ms. Banky in her submission.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Alex Cameron, the applicant. Myself and Sophie, Sophie will, I think, jump in if she feels like she needs to address anything that was raised then. But I'm happy just to sort of lead off if that's okay.
That'll be good. Thank you.
Hi, thank you to the panel. Yeah, I'm Alex Cameron. I'm the tenant. I'm the one when obviously we submitted for 118 McPherson Street. We agreed to what's been proposed and the improvement and what's been approved by council, and with the conditions contained in the report, especially to sort of the trial period for the later trading hours on Thursday to Saturday. And yeah, look, I guess from our perspective, I understand Emma's concerns, and we will obviously be doing our utmost through things like our plan of management to address and mitigate any of the things that could possibly happen from what she sort of obviously imagined. I guess I'm operating a restaurant a little bit up the street, about 500 meters up the street of 56 to 60 McPherson Street. And we've been operating for 1.5 years now. We haven't had any complaints submitted to council in that time, and we operate according to everything that we're sort of given. And I guess in terms of waste disposal, it was approved with that building that waste would be picked up from the back. And I think there is quite a strict hours of waste removal. Obviously, as an operation, we won't be removing glass at any time sort of after I think it says 9 p.m, but we'll probably look to do that earlier than that, so there isn't any noise from moving glass between receptacles. We will obviously be acoustic treating the venue, so there isn't any noise escaping, and we're happy to put signage around so that we don't have people congregating outside the front of the venues or the rear of the venue, to make sure that there's no noise between obviously our space and the residences that are other the construction conditions will
We seem to have lost your volume. Yeah,
Oh,
volume.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
keep cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry. Is that any better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll repeat that. So yes, obviously in terms of construction and management of the noise around that, we'll be operating within the approved hours. Construction materials and things like that will be removed in the sort of safe manner and as approved. And we don't expect there to be any strenuous. To be honest, it's not a huge build, so we don't expect there to be a ton of noise, as most of the construction has been done in the former DAs when the building was constructed.
Okay, you're finished?
Yeah, I think I'm finished. Unless Sophie wants to jump in to add anything at all.
I'd just like to add, if that's okay, in terms of the waste servicing vehicle, that'll be a privately contracted vehicle, so it won't be the same, and it comes every day. So it won't be the same size as council's usual vehicle that will pick up the bins from the curb. So the private contractor will actually go to the bin storage room, take the bin out, put it in the load it into the vehicle, which is a lot smaller, and put the bin back into the bin storage room. So it will operate a lot differently to the other bin service that Emma was talking about. And the other thing is, I don't know if we can ask Emma, in particular, what might be the noise source from the toilet? Is it the flushing or is it the door? Because either of those can actually be addressed.
So Emma, can you?
Can answer that if that's okay. So first of all, yes, door opening. People go out, they wait for toilets, they're hanging around outside, then doors opening of those toilets. So it's an outdoor space with lots of people coming back and forth in that space, door left open, as well as you are right under my son's bedroom window.
Mm-hmm. So I think maybe we could address that with some signage as well, that people shouldn't be waiting in that area.
And what about the doors? What about the noise?
Yeah, I'm
talking
pretty sure.
outside.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we could.
And also
the better door.
And also the truck movement, like it's also about just blocking the lane. That is a real problem for us, that we need access to our lane and we must turn left out of our driveway to be able to exit our lane. So, and it's also a noise thing, like every day, and there is, like, I know you refer to table manners, they're not opened every day. You have that in your report, but they're not. They're closed on Tuesdays. You've also got different opening hours in your report from what they have. So, I'm not quite sure on how you've got your hours, but this is relentless. So
Sorry,
we've
Emma,
got noise late at night, we've got noise in the
Emma,
morning.
sorry, can we just stick to the question that Sophie was asking about the doors and the toilets, Emma?
I honestly, I think it needs to be incorporated. Like it shouldn't be there. Any noise right out. Like we've already got the apartments next door, and of course,
Emma,
that's acceptable.
Sorry, can I just
but that noise is there from them.
Right.
That noise is already there from people inside their homes. So directly outside is a problem.
Thank you.
I don't think it should be approved with outside bathrooms.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you've heard that comment from Emma on concern about the toilets. Is the door mechanism something that can be also looked at?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously there's a lot of options for soft closing doors, and we will acoustically treat the space just as we'll acoustically treat the internals of the venue. It's going to be a high-end restaurant, so I don't want it to be somewhere that noise is obvious or echoing or escapes, just like the one that we were trade up the road. So I don't think there'll be too much of a noise impact, to be honest. And I think what Sophie said about making sure people aren't congregating will reduce any flow of voices from that outdoor area.
Okay, thank you. Panel, is there any questions?
No questions. I understand that the doors for both the outside toilets face inwards towards the central part of the site.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
Dennis Honig is back.
I had a question.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. So condition 43C at the moment refers to the as a requirement in relation to noise impacts from the mechanical plant associated with the premises, and it sets the hours from 12 midnight to 7 a.m. In terms of you run a restaurant now, what would be the normal time in relation to closing when you would turn off the mechanical plant? Like if it's going from 10, if you're closing at 10, you don't need 2 hours after closing
No, absolutely not. So obviously
What-
it will probably need 30 minutes from end of close, which is 10 o'clock in the week. And then obviously there's an 11 o'clock temporary approval on Thursday to Saturday. So probably 11:30 at the absolute latest, and possibly
Now,
quite
Alex,
a long time before.
Alex, I think what the question is, and Elizabeth might want to just re-ask it, it's about the mechanical plant and what time, like the exhaust fans, do they get shut down before the actual closing time? Is that,
I
that's,
think you've frozen.
Look, the exhaust fans
Amazing.
probably don't get shut down before the actual closing time, because obviously when you're...
okay.
Hello? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, keep going.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Elizabeth. So the mechanical exhaust, we tend to shut down within about 15 minutes of ending of trade. So if the kitchen finishes up, say, an hour or half an hour before people are finishing their meals, we probably then turn off the mechanical about 50 minutes after that. So I would suggest that there's never mechanical beyond our operating hours. And there's definitely never mechanical from 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, thanks. So never beyond the operating hours. Okay, thank you.
No. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
thank you. Dennis Honig, I see that you're back online. Is there a short submission you'd like to make on this item?
Yes, can you hear me, everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, and really apologize. I'm actually overseas in South Africa at the moment, dealing with a family loss. So it is 3. I thought this meeting was 3 a.m., but it happens that it's 2:30 a.m. So I've just I was just woken up by Emma. So apologies if I'm repeating anything that's been said already. But firstly, just to address the panel, and thank you for allowing me to talk today. So my family home is located at 7B Yanko, so I am directly behind the site, and I'm speaking today on behalf of those neighbours that are at 5 Yanko and 7 Yanko. So we are houses located in the residential zone, directly adjoining the property. Our houses sit on the laneway, so I don't know if you've had a chance to visit the site and see exactly where we sit. All our bedrooms, all our living areas are on that laneway. We hear every noise. We already deal with the waste collection once a week when council waste comes through. Our windows, we feel our windows shattering as they go through, because there's no fence. Our walls actually sit on the laneway. So I guess what I want to discuss today is expectations of how we're going to be protected from the impacts of this development. I know you've received 28 objections, so I'm glad this has gone to the panel. And in reviewing those objections, and I know you've probably read them in full, so I don't want to repeat all the things that I'm concerned about. But firstly, I just wanted to make sure, and I don't know if it's been covered already, and I apologise if I'm repeating, that firstly, all the relevant due diligence has been done. So I know Louise Dow, one of the neighbours, have submitted a supplementary submission, looking at all the technical data that's been provided. We don't feel at the moment, looking at that information that's been provided, that it really has considered all the potential impacts that this restaurant is going to have on us. All the impacts on acoustics, on the exhaust, the management of traffic. People are going to be circling around looking for parking, driving right past our bedroom windows. Trucks coming, deliveries coming, blocking the laneway. It's a pedestrian access zone. How all that will be sufficiently dealt with, and we're really concerned about that. So I really encourage you to have a look whether sufficient technical detail has actually been given, and whether you're actually able to make an assessment. Secondly, I'm really concerned that there's been multiple iterations of DA. DA's been raised throughout this process. We started when I bought my house 3 years ago. I did my due diligence. I knew there was a DA in there to, develop a heritage building, and the DA actually clearly stated which was originally refused by council. It went to the LEC, Land and Environment Court, sorry. And in the Land and Environment Court, there was some agreement made, but it was clearly stated in the DA that the property will be retained as 2 existing commercial tenancies, and it will have no impact on the amenity of the residents. And it actually stated that in the DA. The DA was approved on that basis. But since then, the 2 tenancies have been amalgamated, and now they've been amalgamated. Now we've got this large restaurant, and it seems like all the approvals, like council in their recommendation ignored the objections around deliveries and waste being moved to McPherson Street, citing that it had already been approved in a prior DA. But my feeling is that prior DA is no longer relevant, the approval that was put in place then, because the situation is now different. The use is now different. The volume of garbage is now different. The trucks will be sitting there longer. They'll be coming past more frequently. So I think this all should be re-looked at again on its own merits.
Yeah. Thank you,
Because
Dennis.
I think
Dennis, I'm sorry that you're woken up, and my condolences for loss
thank you.
and your trip away. Thank you for making the time. You've exceeded the 3 minutes, which I let you go over for a little bit.
Okay.
But everything you're saying, your colleague Emma, I think it was Emma, was very clear on, and had the opportunity to also have discussions with the architect on this site. So a few conditions that are in play already that will probably address some of your concerns, but we've certainly heard you, and we've heard Emma, and the panel will take them on board, your submission, both orally and all the written ones, when we go into deliberate on this item later today. So
do you mind if I just wind up quickly? 30 seconds.
Just quickly, because you've actually gone over your 3 minutes already.
Okay. Sorry. My third point was around the zone interface, and I'd really like you to consider the impact of an R2 zone meeting a D1 zone with no buffer in between, and I think there's expectations around that. I don't know what was brought up. I came in about the toilets, the mention of the toilets. I think the toilets are outside now.
That's been well agitated, Dennis.
Yes.
That's been well agitated. So thank you.
Okay.
We've heard, and we'll certainly take all of that on board when we go in to deliberate. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. And if there's no further questions, we'll move on to the next item. So thank you for your time. And we'll now move on to the item number 4, which is 23 Burke Street, Queen's Park. There were no submissions received during the exhibition process, and there are no registered speakers. We'll move on now to item number 5, which is DA 494/2025, 21 Chesterfield Parade, Bronte. There were no submissions received during the exhibition period, and there's no registered speakers. We'll move on now to item number 6, DA 430/2025, 13 Darling Street, Bronte. There were no submissions received through the exhibition process. We have the applicant registered, John Martin. Are you here, John?
Yes, I am.
There you are. We can see you. Would you like to address the panel, or are you here to take questions?
Just to take questions, and that we're happy with the recommendation and the conditions attached.
Thank you, John. Panel, do we have any questions for John?
No questions.
Right. Thank you for making yourself available, but the panel has no questions.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item number 7, which is DA 2029/2025. It's 26 and 30 to 32 Hall Street, Bondi Beach. There were several submissions received through the exhibition process. We have registered speakers. We've got 2 objectors. We've got Andrew Travers and Adrian Finlay. Andrew, are you here?
I am, yes.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello, you've got 3 minutes when you're ready.
Thank you. Look, I did put a request in this morning, Madam Chair, to have Daniel Parber, who's a planner, to present on my behalf. We are trying to get him into the meeting. It's proving difficult. He's up on the Central Coast. I'm in Bondi. I'm wondering if there's any other way we could send him a link.
Well, can you not address your issues? Is that something you're not able to do?
Look, I can do, but we did as occupants of 20 Hall Street employ a professional to go through that list and then present on our behalf.
All right, well, can we organise that for him too? He's here already? Okay, well, sorry, what's his name?
Daniel Barber.
Daniel Barber. So he's going to speak in lieu of you?
Yes, correct. But he's
Right.
finding it difficult to log into the Zoom website because he's using my login.
He's online.
Oh, good. Okay, that's great.
So Daniel, you there? Here he is. Yep. Daniel has just joined us. Daniel Barber, you're going to speak on behalf of Andrew Travers.
Sorry, hi panel. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you.
You've got 3 minutes.
Fantastic. I'll speak now. So firstly, panel members, as you're aware, I'm representing 20 Hall Street, Bondi Beach, which is directly to the south of the development site at 2632 Hall Street. So the residents in the building are concerned about the amenity to be adversely impacted by the proposal. In my view, there's the following issues. I think these issues of impact can be resolved through design changes. These are my recommendations. So firstly, it appears the proposal includes a 19.5% landscaped area short of the 30% standard. Further, I've calculated deep soil at only 5.8%. So I know in the assessment report it said it was compliant with ADG, but they actually acknowledged in that council assessment report that it doesn't meet the minimum width. So my view, to be defined as deep soil under the ADG, need to meet that 3 metre minimum width. So it's only a 5.8% deep soil, which is short the 7% ADG requirement. But further to that, the SEP housing says that where there's an inconsistency between the DCP and the ADG, the DCP prevails relating to deep soil. So the requirement's actually 15% under the DCP, and further to that, for enhanced provision in the ADG is 15%. So they should really, in my view, be targeting 15% deep soil in addition to the 30% landscaped area, particularly because that's the established desired future character for that area, and they're seeking to rely upon that affordable housing provision. So given they're only 5.8, I think there's opportunity, as per the panel previously recommended, the panel actually said previously, provide a wider deep soil zone would maximize opportunities for buffer planting and provide visual screening in perimeter areas. I agree with the panel that I think there's an opportunity that if they provided a 2 to 3 metre landscape strip along the southeast, that would enable compliance with the deep soil control and also provide a significant means of providing planting, such as mature trees in the future, and screening for the property to the south. So that's my first point about deep soil and landscaped area. Secondly is ADG. So I know that they've put on some screening I've seen to the windows to the southeast to mitigate overlooking. Now, if you angle the screens, actually it allows direct looks into the living area and living areas and private open space of the adjoining property. So the screening doesn't actually mitigate the overlooking. You can probably see on the drawings. So as you've probably seen, that I recommend that to mitigate the overlooking, they should really be providing a separation consistent with ADG. So in the bottom 4 stories, it should be 6 metres, and then on the 5th story, increase to 9. That would enable that there won't be direct overlooking to the habitable windows and private space. I think it's a bedroom and a living room mainly at 20 Hall. So look, you could, to mitigate that overlooking, you could remove the screen, but the bedroom really needs an outlook in my view in living areas. So I think the best recommendation there would be actually to increase the visual separation to at least 12. Currently it's only 7.7. In terms of DCP envelope, as you're quite well aware, there's this 45-degree splay control. So height at 4.5, it tapers up at 45-degree angle from 6 meters at the rear. The proposal results in a significant departure from this control. I think it's 7.8 meters non-compliance. And you've probably seen that from the previous Land Environment Court judgment. That was key consideration of that non-compliance and related to overshadow impacts to 20 Hall. And I acknowledge that with the bonus at infill that there needs to be some flexibility with this, but I think that departure is so significant and the direct impact that they no longer achieve compliance with solar access should be considered with significant weight. I actually think potentially a way to resolve that issue is maybe not actually compliance with the rear setback display control, but achieving compliance at ADG. So if you were to provide a 6 meter separation and then 9 meters to the upper level, that would resolve privacy, but it also protect the solar access, which enables them to have some flexibility with the rear setback. And so look, I think that the project is, there's ability to achieve the project here whilst also protecting the amenity of the neighbors. So simply by achieving compliance at ADG, not only can you protect their privacy, you can also make sure that they still get midwinter sunlight, and this is their only midwinter sunlight, that whole north-west aspect for that building. And also I think it's really important when you're seeking these infill bonuses with affordable to meet the desired future character, which is established through deep soil planting. So providing that 15% minimum deep soil planting, or at the very minimum, at least the ADG, and that's been established through the 30% landscaped area requirement. The SEP as a clear way to achieve the height and FSR bonuses to increase landscaping. So I think by following those recommendations, the project could be made suitable, but in its current form, I don't think it should be supported unless the significant design changes were made. So I'd be recommending to probably defer the item to address those concerns. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you that's very helpful. Questions, panel? Daniel?
No.
No? Elizabeth? None? Thank you. Adrian Finlay?
Yes, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yeah. If you
Excellent.
could just speak up a little bit, that'd be helpful.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep, great. I'll speak loudly so you can hear me.
Ready?
Yep, ready to go. Good morning, panel. I'd like to outline a couple of key reasons why this DA is inappropriate.
So you've got to speak, you keep moving away from the mic.
Okay, bear with me one moment. Okay, it's up as loud as it can be. I might have to move quite close to the laptop if that helps.
Yeah, it does help, very much so.
Great, okay. So I'd like to outline a couple of key reasons why this DA is inappropriate in its current form, particularly the 5th story and the significant rear setback non-compliance. Firstly, the proposal fails to satisfy fundamental planning principles confirmed in 2024 by the Land and Environment Court in Bondi Residence versus Waverley Council. The court made it clear that no planning bonus, whether a height uplift or other incentive, can override the need for good urban design, contextual fit, and protection of neighbouring amenity. Here, the 5th story and setbacks are not compatible with the established or desired future character of the Hall Street village. It reads as an overdevelopment of a constrained site and does not align with the planning framework intended for the area. Nor does it align with the adjoining property at 34 Hall Street that was required by the Land and Environment Court to comply with height and setback controls. The bulk and scale exceed what is appropriate for this transition zone. Crucially, the proposal makes a major incursion into the required rear setbacks. This is a design that fails to even approach compliance with the DCP and ADG. These controls exist to maintain solar access, visual separation, and a suitable interface between commercial and residential. This design undermines all three. A constructive solution is available. If the panel insists on approving the 5th story, it must be conditional upon full compliance with rear setback controls. If they want the height, they must meet the envelope. Secondly, the amenity impacts on our home are significant and avoidable by establishing appropriate setbacks. Our living areas and private space will lose sunlight, privacy, outlook, and open sky. And once the significantly listed buffer tree is heavily cut back, which is proposed for this DA, all of these impacts intensify. These are exactly the types of harms the court has said cannot be justified by a bonus. Thirdly, while we support conditions requiring privacy screens and a fully landscaped rear area with no access, these protections must be guaranteed. We've already seen this developer previously agree to conditions of consent in the WLPP meeting, only later to seek modifications that weaken them, which council staff approve. The panel should ensure that any protective conditions of consent are robust and not capable of being diluted by later modifications. In summary, this DA represents an overdevelopment of a constrained site. It has been designed in isolation with no regard for the surrounding context or adjoining properties. The 5th story and rear setback breach clearly conflict with the planning framework and the planning principles endorsed by the Land and Environment Court. If any increased height is to be considered, it must be tied to full compliance with the rear setbacks and strong fixed conditions, such as no access to the rear to protect neighbouring homes. Thank you, panel. Any questions? I'm happy to take them.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Adrian.
Pleasure.
Any questions from the panel? No, none. Thank you, Adrian.
Pleasure. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We've got the architects here for this development who are here to answer any questions. And we've got the planning studio, Hijet Spence, and the owner, Vaughan Blank. One of you going to speak and make a submission, or are you here to take questions only?
Good morning, Chair. I am Harjeet Spence from the Planning Studio, and I'm here to present to the panel as well as answer questions along with the architect and the owner here as well to answer any questions.
Great. Sorry, did you say you had a small submission or?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when you're ready, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, panel chair and panel experts, for allowing us to present today. The DA that the panel are considering today proposes to demolish the existing building structures on the site and construct a 5-storey shop-top housing development with infill affordable housing, 5 ground floor commercial tenancies and 2 levels of basement car parking. It is noted that the site previously was approved for a 4-storey shop-top housing development. Whilst the proposal seeks to maintain the overall building footprint and building setback, the proposal does seek to apply for infill affordable housing provisions under the housing SEP, which permits an additional 30% uplift in FSR and height. With this in mind, the development proposes 21 dwellings, of which 6 dwellings are to be allocated for affordable housing for a period of 15 years. And as such, the site is eligible for an FSR of 2.6 to 1 and a height of 16.9 metres, which the development is fully compliant with. The development has been designed to respond to the surrounding mixed-use building character and architectural form of the area by proposing a contemporary form that is articulated with gradually stepped form, curved balconies with landscape features and textures and finishes that respond to the diverse character of the area. The development has been massed to respond to the neighbouring buildings, whilst minimising amenity impacts by providing a 5th story that sits subservient to the lower levels. The development has also been designed to maximise internal residential amenity as the building provides deep soil, private open space, dwelling sizes, solar access and cross ventilation in excess of the apartment design guide requirements. It is acknowledged that the development does result in a non-compliance with the building separation and setback requirements as flagged by the objectors today. However, during the course of the DA assessment process, extensive analysis was undertaken with council to demonstrate that the siting of the proposed development responds to the existing building setbacks of the neighbouring properties and the current approved form on the site. The proposal incorporates measures such as screening and stepped form to address privacy and overshadowing concerns, and also to alleviate any other impacts. The development also results in a non-compliance with the non-discretionary landscape standards as defined by the housing SEP. A precautionary clause 4.6 has been provided that demonstrates compliance with the standard to be unreasonable, given the development provides alternative green spaces that amounts to 37.6% of the site area, which is considered to be more suited to be for landscaping in an employment zone. The consultant team and I wish to thank council for their collaboration and assessment of the DA and request the panel adopt the recommendation for approval, and WMK Architects and the owner of the site are here today, as well as myself, to answer any further questions that you may have.
Thank you. Panel, did we have questions? John?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you. Elizabeth, do you have any questions on this? No. Well, thank you. I don't think we need to hear from anyone else on this item. I think you've addressed it. Thank you both to Andrew. You spoke very well through Daniel, so thank you. And also Adrian for coming along We'll now move on to the next item, but our decision will be up on the website later this week. And we'll make a deliberation at the close of this meeting today.
Madam Chair, could I just make a closing comment? In the planner's report, and I could
Andrew,
read it.
no, Andrew,
Yeah.
sorry, no. You've had Daniel speak on your behalf.
Okay.
So, in fairness to all the parties, everyone that's registered has had an opportunity to speak, and we've heard them, and we're going to take them on as a panel, and we'll take it into the deliberation room later today. So,
if you could, we'll assess the overshadowing, please.
Thank you.
And we're looking
Thank
at all
you.
the other options.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you,
Beyond
and
this.
everyone else for your time today on this item. We'll now move on to number 8, which is 80 DA 320 2025 80 Francis Street, Bondi Beach. We've got that's a semi, and it's also tied, well, not tied, but it's similar to number 9, item 9, DA 321 2025, which is 82 Francis Street, Bondi Beach. We've got a registered speaker on the applicant, who's the same, Eduardo.
Yep.
Do you want to speak, address the panel, or are you here to take any questions?
Thank you, panel and Madam Chair. I'm just here for any questions. We endorse the recommendations and conditions set out in the report.
Thank you. Any questions, panel? No? Thank you for making yourself available, Eduardo, but we don't have any questions from the panel.
Thank you.
Thank you. That now concludes the 9 items on our agenda, and it also concludes the Waverley Local Planning Panel meeting of the 26th November 2025. So thank you all. And as we said, our determinations will be up on the website, council's website, later this week. Thank you for coming. I close the meeting.
Is June then? June.